Hey everyone, welcome back to Kali Plants. It's me again, Mark, and today we're back at the greenhouse with another video. And I thought for this one, it's nice to look back on our succulents that have really grown over the past months, and especially now that it's the growing season, because currently we're in our rainy season here in the Philippines, and we have very cloudy days that are really cool, and then we don't have a lot of intense sun. So I see that a lot of my succulents are growing, so I think that I wanted to feature some of the larger ones that I have now. And also, after I've shown you all the large plants that I have, I will be giving you 3 tips on how to make your succulents bigger, so please make sure to watch until the end. Now let's switch the camera so that you can see the succulents that I'm talking about. Okay, so over here is my Echeveria section of the greenhouse. Okay, we have all our Echeverias here, and I especially wanted to highlight this one. This is Echeveria white one. Okay, you can see that. I'm really not sure if that is a Lawi hybrid. It kind of resembles a hybrid of a Lawi because of the shape of the leaves, and you can see that it also has a nice coating of farina. And I found that with this plant, this is much more easier than with your other Lawi hybrids, because other Lawi hybrids are really thick and they grow very slowly. But with this one, with the white one, I believe that it really grows a lot. You can see it already has a lot of stack of leaves. Now the only issue I have with that is that the leaves are not uniform in shape. So you can see those are the older leaves on the bottom, and you can see that some of them are short, some of them are long. So that usually happens if the plant is transitioning from one place to another. It's growing new leaves for that new place, and also it's adjusting its leaf because of the change of the sun exposure that you have in your place. So if you're not growing your succulents from a very small size, you might see that if you buy them big, sometimes they will have irregular leaves at the bottom, because they will start adjusting their growth to the light that you have. So now I think that with this new growth on the upper part, it will just continue growing bigger, and it will be more uniform now because it has established itself onto this new place. Okay, that is the first one. Actually, that is the largest Echeveria on the small white pot. Okay, you can see. And this is also a really nice one. This is Echeveria TP, and you can see it already has a lot of stack of leaves. I bought this from the store, not from online, so it was already established when it came. And it's also one of the thin leafed varieties, but I find that if you water this really nicely, if you manage to get what the plant needs, it can also have these thicker leaves. So you can see that. Okay, it's kind of got some heft to the leaves. Even though it looks thin, it also has a little chubbiness. So this Echeveria TP, I find that this grows really consistently and really nicely, and I really like the growth on this succulent. Okay, so that is one large Echeveria. The other Echeveria I have is Echeveria Snow Bunny. So you can see that is already a very large snow bunny, and this is not usually the way that snow bunnies grow, because you can see it's already much taller in the center than it is on the side. So that means the plant needs more sun, but I don't have any solution to that anymore, because I'm already giving them the maximum amount of sunlight here in my place. So I'm just gonna wait for the new growth to start growing much more compact, especially now we're going into more sunny days, going into summer. I'm hoping that most of my succulents will start growing more compact. You can see here on this one, it's also not very compact. It's kind of stretched in the middle. Yeah, but I think that that's really nice. We still have some growth, so that maybe later on we can propagate some of the bottom leaves, or we can behead the plant if you want to. So just as long as we get more growth during the growing season, I don't care even if it doesn't look that compact. Okay, we have a much more compact snow bunny here, but this one has tended to stay smaller because I haven't been watering this as often as this one. Okay, so that is our large snow bunny. Now we also have here my large Echeveria Peach Pride. So you can see here it's really gotten huge. Okay, that is the small propagation of one of its pups, and this used to be one plant. I used to have one of these last year, and then some caterpillars bit off the head, and now it's produced these 2 stems. Actually there were 3 I had given away the other one to a friend of mine, and now we have these two large ones. You can see that it's really large. If you compare it with the other Echeverias we have, it's really large, and I really love the look on this plant. It's green. I had sprayed dethane on it, but it's not as noticeable compared with our other champagne. Okay, you can see that the dethane is clear on that. So we have that really nice Peach Pride. If you want a really nice large growing Echeveria, I would recommend Peach Pride. It is a Gibiflora hybrid, I believe, so it grows much larger. Compared with your Purpusorum hybrids, they will tend to be on the smaller side. Okay, so yeah, there's that. The Echeveria Hera we have here. This is a new one, so I'm not particularly highlighting it. I'm still learning about it, but it's really nice. It's got thick leaves and it's already overflowing its pot. Okay, so we have that. So I think that's about it for our Echeverias. We're gonna go over to our Graptopetalums. Okay, I have some succulents still watering here. It's early in the morning, and we have our large sedum here. Okay, sedum praealtum. So sedum allantoides goldii. Okay, I think goldii or goldie. So that is a sedum allantoides, really large plant. I bought it recently, very recently, so you can see all the old leaves that has their farina rubbed off. That's because of the shipping. And you can see with the ones that are more established, they will have much more thicker and much more cleaner farina because they've already replaced the leaves they have from shipping. Okay, so we have here our titubans. That is the only titubans I have here in the greenhouse. The other ones I placed outside. We have our Graptopetalum Purple Delight. You can see it's really gotten very large. Okay, you can see that. Okay, it's really large compared with our other Graptopetalums. Okay, and yeah, this used to be a freebie, and this head particularly was cut off from that head. There were 3 of them. This is the one that has grown consistently for me, and yeah, I have the other one which is not doing so well, but this is the largest one. Okay, so yeah, there's that. We have our Harry Watson. We have our Super Bum. Okay, I really like the nice color on the Super Bum on this time of the year. It has grown a lot, and then the clean farina heads. Okay, you can see there's already another head there, and there's another head at the bottom. Okay, so I really like the color on the farina on the new growth on that one. Okay, really lovely. We have our Ellen right here, and also the lovely rose is growing large if you've been following the channel. Okay, we also have our Myrinae. I have some Myrinae propagations, by the way, right here. Okay, we're probably gonna give that away. We also have our Mendoza Propagation. Okay, that's not very large. Okay, this is the large Myrinae that I have. Okay, really nice lush growth on that one. It used to be in a very small pot, much like with this one. It was in this size of a pot, and then I put them in a larger container, and they have grown really nicely. We have our Mendoza here. I haven't watered this one yet, so it's kind of dry, but it's grown very large. Okay, with also the Paraguayense, I haven't watered it yet, so I'm gonna water it, but it's looking kind of wilted, but it's already a very large succulent. Okay, we have that. So for our sedum, we have this large. Oh, this is not purely a sedum. This is a Echeveria Harry Watson. You can see it's already large, but it has dried up because I haven't been watering it. But you can see all the heads that I have. This used to be 2 heads when I got it, and now it has already those other stems. I took off this and this from those stems, and now it has produced a lot of pops. So I think I'm gonna be more consistent with the watering for this one so that we can see more growth on that. Okay, we have our Rubrotinctum. Okay, this is my large Rubrotinctum that is new, and this is my old Rubrotinctum. Ever since we returned from vacation, this is only the time that I will be watering it. Okay, so yeah, it's held up nicely. There's other large size succulents here. We have here our you can see already the pups on there. Okay, it has already produced a lot of pups. Really nice. This is Sedum lucidum, yes, Sedum lucidum obesum. Okay, really nice large leaves, and this used to be growing in a straightforward manner, but I think it's leaned into the sun a little more because the sun is consistent on this side of the greenhouse. We have our clump of Sedum Adolfi. I've also been neglecting this because with my mature succulents, I find that I water them less often because they're heavier to carry. So, and they also take longer to bottom water. So I water them less often, and they tend to get dried up. But I really like the nice colors on that Sedum Adolfi. It's turned into really orangey reddish color. You can see that. Okay, really nice color on that. Okay, now we also have this large sized Sedum flavatum that is also new. Okay, you can see that. I just plopped it onto the soil and I just let it root however it wants. Okay, I didn't bother with it anymore, and I've been watering it. So yeah, we can also see some growth on that is new. That is the new head on that one. Okay, we also have this really large, really impressive Portulacaria. Actually, this is the most impressive Portulacaria that I have. This is bought from a store, so this was already rooted, but I really like the effects of our potting mix on our plants because you can see the growth, the length on that one. And I'm using this as a shade plant for my crassulas. Okay, you can see all the crassulas that we have here. Yes, I'm using it to shade the crassulas because it's really hot on this side of the greenhouse, especially if it's not cloudy. The sun just really hits this part of the greenhouse currently in the winter season, but in the summer season this will be a little less hot, okay, because the sun will be coming from the top of the greenhouse. But currently in the season that we have is getting into this part of the greenhouse, so I use this as a shade plant, and this one as well. The taller succulents that I have, I use them to shade my smaller succulents. So that's one strategy you can do, make your own microclimate. Okay, we also have our large Burgundy crassula. You can see that, you can see all the large, or you can see the babies that are growing on the sides of that one. I think it's kind of dry, it's kind of wilted. Okay, yeah, but yeah, I think I'm gonna need to water that one later on. But you can see all the nice growth on that one. This stem, okay, you can see it already has a lot of pups growing. Okay, so yeah, it's really nice. Yes, it's a thin leaf crassula. We also have our stacking crassulas right here. They're kind of dry because I haven't watered them during vacation. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna consistently water them. We also have our sedum here. No, it's not sedum. Crassula that is also large. That looks like the falcata, but it's a different type of crassula. I will be putting the name. But you can see it has already opened up because it was a little more closed when it was dry. So now it's opening up. It's producing new leaves at the center. So that's really nice. If you have struggles with your crassula, I would suggest you spray it with fungicide as soon as you buy them because they have this problem, the rust fungus. Okay, so if you have problem with rust, especially with the fuzzy crassula, you just have to spray them right away after buying them. Okay, so I will be particularly wary of these varieties: the Buddha's Temple, the Ivory Pagoda, Ivory Tower, Moonglow, Falcata, and Morgan's Beauty. You can see they have the same texture, and they are the ones that are more prone to getting rust fungus. So you really have to spray them if you want to keep them alive for very long. Because when I didn't spray my plants, this was all sprayed by the way, when I didn't spray my plants, all of my crassulas, especially the fuzzy ones, will just die. Okay, so you really have to spray them. That is also the reason why I sprayed the greenhouse with dethane, because of the crassulas that I have. So I figured that I will just spray everything. Okay, so now we also have here our crassula volkensii, and you can see when I unboxed this, it was looking kind of tired, but you can see now that it has really nice color. I really love the look on it. It has some semblance to the Portulacaria afra variegata, but it also has a different look to it with its pointed leaves. It's not as round as the Portulacaria, and it's really nice colors with the new growth. You can see it's much more warmer, and then with the old growth it's much more white and green. Okay, so I really love the look on that one, on that crassula, and it's held up nicely. It hasn't been dropping a lot of leaves. Okay, but this was also sprayed with dethane, so just to ensure that it will not get rust. But I think that it would be a really nice hanging plant, okay, on a hanging pot. Okay, so I think that's a really nice large sized crassula. Okay, onto our Haworthia and Aloe section. I placed all my Haworthias, by the way, right here. You can see some of my Haworthias are etiolating. Okay, so we've got some etiolation going on in there. Okay, we have our new Emperor Tulista. Okay, you can see a lot of growth on this one. This is the largest Haworthia, by the way, on my collection. These two, the largest Haworthiopsis. Okay, you can see the green growth on that. When it was still inside, I placed them inside during my vacation, so you can see the green growth indicates that the plant needs more sun. So it's kind of reaching out, it's kind of etiolating. Same with these ones. Okay, so that's what will happen if you give them less sun. You can see the shape is really nice, and you can see that I don't have a lot of drying out leaves. Even if I neglect them, they will not dry out a lot of leaves. They will just shrink a little bit, but their leaves will not drop right away. And this is still very firm, by the way. Okay, so that's one really nice large Haworthia. We also have our aloes here. This is my large aloe. I let them get the rain because this side of the greenhouse gets rain. So this is aloe. Oh no, I forgot the name again. Okay, this is a variety of aloe. I will just post the name on the screen. Pardon my memory, guys, because I already have a lot of plants. I don't think I can remember them, but it's in the tip of my tongue. Okay, that's a really nice aloe. We also have here this large aloe hybrid. Okay, with a nice teeth on it. It's really nice. It's gotten a lot more growth. Okay, so I think that's about all the large sized succulents that I have. Okay, those are the largest ones. You can see they're standing out wherever I point my camera. Okay, so now let's go on to our tips on how to make our succulents larger. Okay, I think I'm gonna do it here on the Graptopetalum part of the greenhouse because this is where the largest of my succulents are. Okay, you can see that, really nice. So what I would recommend, 3 tips for growing really large succulents. The first one is I would recommend that you buy large succulents already. Yes, if you want large succulents, and if you already have the space for them, if you want to see large succulents growing in your area, then I would recommend you start out with large succulents right away. Because if you start with smaller ones, it will take a very long time before you make them really large, especially with this succulent, this Purple Delight. I've had that for a year and it's only starting to grow like that right now. But if I bought that with that size, then it might have already doubled in size. So I would really recommend, if you want large succulents right away, buy larger succulents from online or from shops. So you really have to be mindful of where you choose your succulents, because if you tend to start with smaller ones, it will take a very long time before you see them growing into large succulents. Now for my second tip, I would recommend is to take advantage of the growing season like what we have here currently in the Philippines. We're currently getting very cloudy days that has a lot of filtered sun and also a lot of colder temperatures. So the temperatures are very low, so succulents are growing much more quicker. So I would recommend that you give them more light and then you give them more water, and also you put more organic materials on their potting mix, because with more organic materials they can absorb more water. Now I would also recommend that the choice of organic materials is very important. So I've been using Alnus compost. I've been saying it over and over on my videos, but I found a lot of success with it, which is why I highly recommend it. Alnus compost, you can find it on Shopee, and you can ask your Benguet sellers if they can ship you some Alnus compost, because a lot of Benguet sellers, that's what they use with their succulents. Currently with my plants, I mix their potting mix with Aloe's compost, and also I add vermicast on it just for additional fertilizer. If you already have planted your succulents and you don't want to repot them anymore and it's a growing season, you can just sprinkle vermicast on top of the soil, and you can also add fertilizers such as Osmocote. Okay, so I have my Osmocote right down below. I also added Osmocote on my Super Bomb. Okay, I added Osmocote on that one, so now it's producing a lot more growth. And I would really recommend that you use fertilizer, because with the dry potting mixes that we're using for succulents, especially if you're using carbonized rice hull, they don't have a lot of nutrients to grow. So I would recommend that if you already have that, you just add more fertilizer and you water more often, especially if you're growing them outside. Now, if you're growing them indoors, you might not have a lot of success making them very large, because succulents, I find with the larger ones, they are really grown outside in full sun and not indoors or under grow lights. Under grow lights, you can keep them alive, but I find that it will take much more longer probably for succulents to grow very large under grow lights. Okay, so I would recommend you give them more sun, especially like this with the greenhouse condition that I have. You can really have large succulents. Now, for the last tip to grow larger succulents is to avoid propagating them. Now, I would really recommend that you avoid leaf propagation, beheading your succulents if they're still new, if they're still small, because that will really hinder their growth. The more you take away from the plant, the more stems or the more leaves you take away from your plant, the weaker they get and the slower they will take to grow, because they will have less leaves to photosynthesize, and also with less leaves they have less water storages, less energy to hold on, so that will make them weaker. If you remove their leaves and if you remove their stems, they will take much more longer to root and to establish. So I would really recommend that you avoid propagating your succulents right away if they're still small and you want to make them larger. So really you have to exercise self-control on that, because the more you propagate, the slower the growth your plants will have. Okay, so I would recommend avoiding propagation, but if you manage to grow them large like that, it will be much more easier to propagate them, because with the larger leaves, you will have more success with propagating those. So I would recommend grow your succulents large first before propagating them, especially if they're the larger varieties. But sometimes some succulents will really not grow large. Okay, sometimes you will like to have a smaller, much more compact succulent, so it really depends upon the variety. Those smaller ones, you can probably propagate them right away if they really reach their full size and they're really not that large of a variety. Okay, so now I think that's about it for this short video highlighting my large succulents, and update on our plants and also the tips that I shared. I really hope that you liked it, and also please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't already, so that you can support the channel. You can also share this video with your plant friends if they're struggling with their succulents and if they really want to grow them big. And I think that's about it for this video, guys. I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.